The movie opens at a street race on the streets of Miami, where Tej is conducting a race. One of the racers tells Tej that they are short a racer, so Tej calls up Brian O'Connor. Brian comes to the race and he races them. At the very end of the race, they have to jump a bridge. Brian wins the race, and when he gets out of his car, he sees a lady and asks her out. She says it's time to go, and he asks why, and she motions toward the swarm of police cars coming their way. Everyone jumps in their car and starts to race off. While Brian is driving off, the police shoot some kind of electrical charge into his car, and it shuts down the car, and the police capture Brian. Brian is now at a police station where he meets with his former boss, who tells him that after he left California, he has broken a lot of laws. His boss then tells him that if he does one more job for him, that he will clear Brian's record and he can be a free man. If he refuses, he goes to jail. Brian accepts, so the boss explains that there is a crime boss, Carter Verone, who they have been following for a very long time, and they want to catch him. They tell Brian that Carter Verone is looking for new drivers, so he tells Brian that he wants Brian to become an insider and work for this guy. Brian says okay, as long as he can choose his partner. Brian and his boss are then at a demolition derby where they recruit Brian's old friend Roman. Pierce Roman has to live at the demolition derby because he can't go more than 100 yards away from his home. He then motions toward a trailer on the derby sidelines. Brian tells Roman that they can clear his record and he will no longer be under house arrest if he does this job with him. Roman accepts and they head back to headquarters where they meet with the police again. They then see the lady Brian saw at the race. She introduces herself as Monica Fuentes and says she has been posing as Carter Verone's girlfriend for the last 3 years, but she really is DA. She shows Brian and Roman the cars they will be working with. They get in the cars and head to Carter Verone's house. Carter meets them there with a lot of other racers and tells them that if they want to work with them, they have to do something for him first. He says that in an impound lot in Little Haiti, he has a Ferrari with a package in the glove box, and whoever can get there first will work for Carter. The racers, including Brian and Roman, head off to the impound lot and retrieve the package. Brian and Roman bring the package back to Carter, where he congratulates them and tells them they are his new drivers. Brian and Roman head to Tej's place, where Tej's mechanic Jimmy looks at the cars the police gave Brian and Roman. Jimmy tells them that the cars have a GPS system in them, so the police know every move they make. Later that night, Brian and Roman go to the nightclub Verone invited them to. Monica Fuentes meets them there and tells them that Verone is planning a job in which Brian and Roman have to bring money to Verone on an airstrip in Miami. Verone looks as if he's starting to get suspicious of Monica. The next morning after the party, Brian wakes up on his boat and Monica is there. She tells them that she heard Verone talking, and after Brian and Roman are done with the job, Verone is going to kill them both. Brian then hears something outside the boat, and apparently Verone has sent 2 thugs to Brian's boat to see if Monica is there. Monica hides as Roman and Brian distract the thugs. Verone then appears and tells Brian and Roman that on the job they are running for him, the 2 thugs will be riding with them. Brian informs the police what airstrip the job is going down on and when they need to be there, because Carter is planning on taking the money Brian and Roman get for him and leaving the country. So the day of the job comes and Brian and Roman head out to a trailer park where they and the thugs use sledgehammers to bust open a wall and get all the money out of it into duffel bags. Someone informs the local police of this, and they start to chase after Brian, Roman, and the thugs. They all go to some garage where they park inside, and the police wait for him outside. The garage door opens and Tej signals for all these huge trucks to leave the garage as a distraction. Brian, Roman, and the thugs escape in the cars they won the night before in the race. On the way to the airstrip, Roman ejects the thug that was in his car out by using a special button. In Brian's car, he gets ready to when the thug informs Brian they are going to a river. Brian asks him what about the airstrip, and the thug says who said anything about an airstrip. Back at the airstrip, the SWAT team moves in on what was supposed to be Verone's plane, but there is no one on it. Brian then arrives at a lake where Carter is, and they give Carter the money, and he says he will be leaving by boat and not a plane. He then says he only told one person about the airstrip, which was Monica. He tells Monica he knew she was DA all along. He takes Monica and the money with him on the boat and tells the thugs to kill Brian. The thug pulls out his gun and gets ready to shoot Brian before Roman rams the back of Brian's car, and the thug drops the gun, and Brian and Roman beat up the thug. Brian and Roman jump in Brian's car and drive off after the boat. The boat is in the lake and Brian and Roman are driving alongside it on a dirt road. Brian then drives towards the lake and hits a ramp, and the car goes flying through the air and lands on the boat. Cool scene. Carter walks up to the car with his shotgun in hand, and Brian pulls out his gun and shoots Carter in the shoulder. The scene cuts back to shore, where police are arresting Carter, and Brian and Roman are being treated for injuries while Monaco congratulates Brian and Roman. Brian and Roman give the police the money from the job and they walk off. As they are walking, Brian lifts up his shirt to show money he has hidden in his belt loop, and they laugh and walk off.